Our top story tonight, family and friends desperate to find this missing University of Pittsburgh student. She vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic. We are tracking this search. We know the 20-year-old was last seen walking on the beach at a resort on Thursday, and overnight, a Dominican Republic search and rescue team began their search. So far, no signs of her. News Nation's Nick Smith is tracking the details. Nick, what are we hearing?
We're hearing that investigators are asking anyone with information about her last whereabouts to let them know immediately. University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki was last seen Thursday near a resort just before 5 a.m. Now, several agencies taking part in an all-out search for the missing woman, including the Dominican Civil Defense, local firefighters, and the Dominican Navy. Those directly involved in the search are urging anyone with information about her to contact authorities immediately. We do know that she is 5'3" tall and was last seen wearing her brown swimsuit with large round earrings, a metal designer anklet on her right leg, and a couple of bracelets. The Defensa Civil, a Dominican Republic search and rescue team, have been working since early Saturday to find her. It's unclear what led up to her disappearance, but because she is also a citizen of India, the Embassy of India in the Dominican Republic has taken the lead, and they are working with the State Department. But on the issue of safety concerns in this country, the U.S. State Department has a level 2 travel advisory for the Dominican Republic. In a statement, which reads in part, the State Department says violent crime, including armed robbery, homicide, and assault, is a concern throughout the Dominican Republic. It isn't immediately clear if those who had been traveling with the 20-year-old have returned from the trip or where they were last seen when she was spotted. A spokesperson for the University of Pittsburgh told local media that university officials are in contact with her family. Natasha, the university and state officials offering their full support to find her and bring her home safely.
It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, a carefree spring break getaway full of laughter, adventure, and unforgettable memories. Sudiksha Konanki, a bright college junior from the University of Pittsburgh, was ready to leave her college life routine behind for a couple of days and soak up every moment with her closest friends. The sun was shining, the beaches were endless, but when it was time to return, Sudiksha was nowhere to be found. Her friends boarded the plane back to the United States, but Sudiksha, she didn't get back on the plane. She vanished without a trace, leaving her Indian family, friends, and everyone back home in the U.S. asking the same haunting question: where is she? As days pass and the reality sets in, the answers remain elusive. Was she just another missing person in a foreign land? Or is there something darker at play? What happened to the girl who went to make memories, but now leaves behind only a mystery?
And joining us now with more is Sheriff Mike Chapman of Loudoun County, Virginia, where this missing 20-year-old Pittsburgh University student is from. Sheriff, thank you for taking the time tonight. What do we know so far about this search?
Natasha, good to be with you. We're doing everything in our power. I mean, we take this incident very, very seriously, especially considering she's a resident of Loudoun County. We're working very hard with the authorities down there in Dominican Republic, whether it's their national police, their Coast Guard, their domestic police. I know they've done everything so far in their power to locate her, helicopters, drones, boats. But we're also working with certainly the embassy in India. We're working with our U.S. embassy down there, and to include several federal counterparts, which would be the DEA, HSI, FBI, and the University of Pittsburgh as well. So we're leaving no stone unturned on this. We're doing everything that we can to try to get to the bottom of this and help out the family.
Her disappearance sparked a massive search operation with the U.S. and Dominican authorities searching land, air, and sea. Agencies from Virginia, where Sudiksha went to high school, along with agencies in Pennsylvania, where she attended college, joined the search with federal agencies. The Indian government is also involved, as Sudiksha is a dual citizen. When I first heard about the story, my mind went straight to Shanquilla Robinson, another young woman traveling with so-called friends and ended up missing. And in both cases, everyone else made it back, but claimed they didn't see anything, didn't know anything. In this case, Sudiksha was last seen after 4 a.m. when she entered the beach area with a guy and 2 girls behind them. It was reported she went swimming. Now, that's a little fishy to me, because who's going swimming in the ocean at 4 o'clock in the morning? I just can't see it. Why would anybody be swimming in the dark ocean at that hour? And then why did her friends know nothing? After 2 weeks of searching, Sudiksha is still missing. The questions keep piling up, but the answers, just like Sudiksha, nowhere to be found.
Now to new developments in the ongoing investigation into the American college student who disappeared while on spring break in the Dominican Republic.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since the 20-year-old disappeared, and now her family is requesting that officials declare their daughter dead. And joining us now from Punta Cana with the very latest on this heartbreaking story is ABC's Ariel Reshef. Ariel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, DeMarco and Eva. You know, really a heartbreaking development overnight. The family of Sudiksha Konanki now acknowledging that she likely drowned, and they really hope to put this painful chapter behind them. And now the attorneys for Joshua Reeby have filed a motion in a local court to try to get him released so he can go back home.
This morning, the family of college student Sudiksha Konanki, who vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic, acknowledging they believe she died. ABC News obtaining this formal written request to the Dominican police. The family asking for a legal declaration of death. Konanki's parents also stating they trust the authorities' investigation. The letter saying the Konankis believe the last person who saw their daughter has cooperated with the investigation and that there is no evidence of foul play. Authorities say they believe Joshua Reeby was with Konanki before she vanished. Officials have long said she likely drowned. Reeby's attorneys demanding authorities in the Dominican Republic release the 22-year-old, who they say is being held illegally and surveilled in his hotel during the investigation. His team filing a motion urging a judge to order officials to return his passport and allow him to go back to the U.S. Overnight, community members of Reeby's hometown in Iowa saying Josh and his family are well loved and he exemplifies compassion, respect, and integrity.
And Ariel is back with us now. What more do we know about the investigation, and what are police saying about the man that may have been the last person to see her alive?
Well, it's really important, DeMarco, to stress that Joshua Reeby is not a suspect. He has never been a suspect in this case. Officials have treated him as a witness to a possible accident, and he has not been charged with any crime. Now, he has sat and cooperated with investigators and most recently with prosecutors. We learned that he sat with them from 2 to 10 p.m. last night, being interviewed, walking them through the details of what he says happened that early morning. Now, this case is still being treated as an accident. A search and the drownings here, they happen here in the Dominican Republic, and they usually last about 10 days. Now this is stretching well into the 13th day. So we're expecting that investigators will decide soon whether or not to continue to pursue that search. And again, attorneys for Joshua Reeby have filed that habeas corpus request with the court, hoping that he can be released, that his passport will be returned, and that he will be able to return back to the United States. Here in the Dominican Republic, officials are not allowed to hold anyone more than 48 hours without charges. And again, he's not facing charges. So his attorneys say that time is up and a judge could rule on that as soon as today.
And Ariel, what kind of evidence do investigators have here?
Well, really, Eva, because this is considered to be a drowning, there isn't much evidence. We do know that they recovered Konanki's swim cover-up and her sandals from the beach. We also know they've been combing through hours and days of CCTV footage, trying to piece together the movements of her and her friend group before this tragedy may have happened. But again, officials here have told us multiple times that drownings occur here in the Dominican Republic, and oftentimes they don't come with conclusive answers.
All right, Ariel Reshef with the latest in Punta Cana. Ariel, thank you. We appreciate it.
And now some of the audio was released from the police interview of the guy that was last seen with her. In my opinion, his story is not adding up, and obviously a lot is being left out.
Josh Reeby's police interview transcripts have just been released to the public. Reeby is the man who was last seen with now missing 20-year-old spring breaker Sudiksha in the Dominican Republic. Reeby claims that the two kissed in the ocean before they almost got swept away by a wave. He said that he saved her from drowning while almost losing consciousness. Reeby said, "We were in waist-deep water. We talked and kissed a bit. A big wave came and hit us both. And when the water returned, it swept us out to sea. As soon as we were able to surface, we tried to call for help. I was getting tired. I realized she was getting tired of swimming too. I've been a lifeguard. I grabbed her and pulled her out. I held her under my arm and swam to get her out of the water. It took me a long time to get her out. It was difficult. I was a lifeguard in a pool, not a sea. I was trying to get her to breathe the whole time. When I finally reached the ground on the beach, I held her in front of me. She wasn't out of the water. She was knee deep and walking at an angle out of the water. The last time I saw her, I asked if she was okay. I didn't hear her reply because I started throwing up all of the water I had swallowed. Then I looked around. I didn't see anyone. I thought she had grabbed her things and left. I laid down on a beach chair and I fell asleep because I couldn't go far. Then I woke up because of the sun and because mosquitoes were biting me. I went to my friend's room to get my phone and then went back to my room to sleep.
Dominican authorities could only hold him for 48 hours without charging him. They didn't charge him, so he was released. But I can't shake the instinct that there's more to this story than he's letting on. It's hard not to feel the weight of the sadness that surrounds this story, especially when you have so many young people who travel for spring break. It's just crazy how you can go out of the country with so-called friends and all of a sudden go missing. Here you have a young woman's life filled with so much promise, a pre-med student, future doctor, vanish in an instant, and yet the answers remain out of reach. Hopefully the truth will come to light and they find out what really happened to her. Her parents seem to be accepting the narrative that she was somehow involved in a drowning accident. I do believe there was some foul play here, but when you have all this sketchy stuff going on while traveling outside the country, then you have these so-called friends and all these people around who didn't see anything or they don't know anything or they have amnesia, they passed out, they have no answers. All of that is sketchy. But let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Let me know what you think about this below. Gotta send a shout out to Olufemi and Shauna, as well as Light and Portrait. I appreciate all of you for your support for the channel. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.